From the age of 3 until the age of 21, I have always been a student, whether it was when I was in preschool and I was reading, or even when I graduated from college last summer, when I was 21, graduated from an HBCU. Like, I've always been a student. And I was always following that yellow brick road to the next step of life. I don't know if you guys have seen The Wizard of Oz. I'm assuming like everybody has seen it, but if you haven't, there's this road that Dorothy takes to take her to the Wizard of Oz. And that's how I always viewed life. Like, you just follow the road, you do the steps that you need to take to get to the next phase of life. And I was always very, very involved in honestly elementary, middle, high school, and college. I was a leader of multiple organizations, presidents. I did a bajillion extracurriculars like figure skating. I played the cello. I was in a choir. I was in an acting company. I was a dancer for all of my life. Like, always very, very well involved. And I knew that those activities will help me out one day when it came to college. And I knew what steps I needed to take to get to college, and I just utilize the things that I was kind of already doing to help me get there. So I kept up my good grades. I was involved in my community, the extracurriculars and school activities, and I developed good relationships with teachers or other adults that actually helped me getting recommendations for scholarships in college and things like that. And then, okay, that was the steps I needed to take to get into college. Cool. Then I got into college and it's like, okay, next up, you need to start thinking about a job post grad. And to be honest, that was not on my mind freshman year, but it was kind of like always in the back of my mind. I'm sure it's in the back of most college students' mind. So the steps, I thought you would need to take to get a job post grad was get good grades, attend college fairs, maintain relationships with teachers both inside and outside the classroom, getting internships and doing a really, really good job on those internships and applying for jobs, in your senior year. And I did all that, and I'm in this place of life right now that I'm happy for. I prepared for this phase of life. But the problem is I keep asking myself, okay, Ariane, well, what's next? Literally, for 21 years of your life, you've always been preparing or working on like the next step of life. And now post grad, that's gone. It's gone, but it's not gone, but it feels like it's completely gone. And since graduating from college last summer, and I feel so old, by the way, like 23, I feel so old, but I think since graduating from college, I miss like the structure of college, the clear and expected next steps that you get from college. And then also the identity that comes along with being a student. Because in college, like when you meet people, oh, hi, my name is Ariane. I'm a double major from Oakland University. Blah, blah. Like when you're a student, that is literally like 90% of your identity. And you can say it's not, but literally, I'm pretty sure for most college students, that is your identity. So, in today's episode, we're going to chat about the identity crisis that many of us face post grad. And identity crisis might be a little strong, but just, I guess, the identity journey that a lot of us go through after graduating from college. And I'll talk to you about my personal experiences and things like that. And this episode might be a little bit all over the place, but that's probably because my life and my brain is all over the place. Hashtag adulting. But yeah, so this is actually the last episode of season 2. It's very exciting, unbelievable. 22 freaking episodes. I'm like so shocked. So if you haven't listened to the past episodes, definitely go check them out. But you guys know for every single solo episode, I do a week in review. So let's take a couple minutes for me to recap my long week. And then we'll talk about the identity crisis that some people face when you graduate from college. Okay, so life right now. I'm actually pretty busy. I'm pretty busy, but then I'm not. Like compared to college, I'm not pretty busy, but just I just have a lot of stuff I need to do. So I just came back from Chicago. I actually went apartment hunting with my mom, and I think we may have found a winner. I really don't want to talk about it until everything's finalized. But if you are personally interested in seeing that journey, I'll be posting about it on my YouTube channel, Ariane Jane's World. The link will be in the episode notes. I will eventually talk about it here on the podcast, but I kind of want to wait until season 3 when things are actually in motion. So you guys will hear about it. So that's that. Chicago's really fun. It was relaxing. Yeah, and then this upcoming weekend, I'm going back to Alabama for my friend's baby shower. I'm so excited. Yeah, that should be really, really interesting. I'll be actually seeing some people that I haven't seen since March of 2020. Some of my old friends, roommates, things like that. So I'm really excited for that. After that, I really just want to stay in my room because I feel like I've been all over the place just this whole summer. Another thing is I actually started a new job. I'm at the same company, but you guys know I'm in a rotational program. So I did my first full year. Technically, my 1 year will be next week on September 14th. That will be my official 1 year at the company. But um, we just rotated a little early. So start a new job and I'm literally 100% clueless. I know absolutely nothing. I wrote down like two acronyms and I realized that this is definitely going to be a struggle. I forgot how hard it is being on a new team. Like going back to the bottom of the totem pole of not knowing anything, not really knowing anybody, and feeling like, oh, this is a dumb question. Yeah, I totally forgot how that felt. And I'm reliving it right now. And I'm also still transitioning off of my old team. So it's kind of like double the work, but I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. And then I'm really excited to see what I'll be doing on my new team. So that's really exciting. But that is definitely going to be a mental toll. That is going to take a mental toll on me for a while. Because I don't think this is something that I'll be able to pick up quickly, but it was my first choice. So I signed myself up for this and I need to be ready for the challenge. And I said I wanted a challenge in this new rotation. And I think my program manager definitely gave that to me. In the podcast and YouTube world, I don't know, kind of discouraging when it comes to YouTube. YouTube has been pretty slow for me. And I've been trying to like set aside some time to think about my purpose and my strategy. And we're kind of going to touch on this in the episode a little bit, but I feel like I need to figure out who is Ariane and why the heck would somebody want to watch me on video for 8 to 45 minutes. You know what I mean? And I think I'm struggling with that. So, yeah, YouTube has been kind of a bleh for me lately. The podcast has been great though on the other hand. I will say I do think I need to come up with a better preparation plan for each episode because I don't always have the brain capacity to always create the graphics, captions, edit the episodes for each episode each week. And normally during my breaks, I like to I'll pre-edit or not pre-edit, but I'll edit and try to get things in order, but I never do everything. So even though I did some of these interviews back in June or May, I still had to edit the episode. I still had to come up with the graphics. Like it was poor planning on my part. I thought I did everything, but I really did not. So it's just a lot that I have to think about for season 3 and how I want to do this, especially since I may be going back into the office in person. I'm not going to have as much time to edit a video like I do now because I don't have a commute. I don't have to get dressed, things like that. So it's a lot going on, but despite all of that, I am okay. I just wish I had some more time for myself to just do nothing. But I think that time will come soon. And I don't know when, but I think it will. You know, I think maybe I need to work on my priorities a little bit and make the most out of my free time. Sometimes I just sit in my bed and play Jeopardy or Family Feud when I could be doing something a little bit more active that I enjoy or doing absolutely nothing at all. Getting rid of all the blue light. But yeah, so that was my week. I hope you guys are having a really great week so far. It's Wednesday. So, it's hump day. Hopefully your day gets better or your week gets better as the week goes along. But okay, that's enough of my week in review. I think I am ready to chat about the topic of today's episode, the identity that you feel like you're missing when you graduate from college and you are no longer a student. So, the experience of being a senior in college and actually graduating from college, it has to be one of the best feelings of all time. And even with COVID ruining class of 2020's graduation, I still had an amazing senior year. For the 8 or 7 months that I was there, I had an amazing time. And we actually had a ceremony. It wasn't the same. There was not nearly as many people. You were still kind of really nervous about COVID, etc. So we weren't able to really enjoy it to our fullest. But I'm still happy that I have that experience. Like I have pictures, videos, like, I have it. While I know others didn't get to have a ceremony and will never have a ceremony. So considering the circumstances, Senior year and college graduation was absolutely amazing. But I feel like one thing that we don't talk about senior year is the adjustment that we're all going to have to make when we're no longer students. And but not everybody has to go through this though, because I have friends that are in medical school and they still have that school identity. I have some friends that are getting their MBA, still students, and maybe I am a little bit jealous that they get to remain a student and I'm not. I mean, I'm partially jealous because I hated tests and quizzes, and now I don't have to deal with that. Sometimes I do get jealous of the student lifestyle, especially when it comes to like if I had a class and I didn't feel like going, I did not have to go. But with work, it's like you have to go even if you're having a bad day. You have to be on camera. You have to still answer emails and different things like that. And as a student, I was always busy, but I love that. That was me. It was a part of my identity. And I remember as a student and even post grad, I would ask a few people like, "Oh, like what are some words you would use to describe me? Or like what are your thoughts about me?" And people would say things like, "Oh, fun," or "very involved, go-getter, hard worker." Some would say, "Oh, you seem pretty smart, well prepared," things like that. And I think that those were all like very nice things to say, I guess. And it felt good at the time to hear those things. And I attached those characteristics to my identity. And now that I'm 1 year post grad working from home, I don't really know who I am. Like, I don't know. It's just this identity crisis of who is Ariane McCullough and what does she want to be? And I know, like, I love being creative. Like, obviously, with YouTube and my podcast, those are perfect examples. I know that I like things that some 20-year-olds don't like. Like, I love like the famous TikTokers. I'm well versed in their drama. If you guys haven't listened to the episode with Jordan Woodruff, we're both like very similar with that. We both love that. And I love entertainment. I love things like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And it's that's not really common for a lot of 20 somethings, TBH. But like outside of that, who the heck am I? And also not having anyone tell me what the next step is. And a couple episodes ago, I talked about, maybe I'll get my MBA. I'm thinking about it, which is still true. I am still thinking about it. I've attended some informational sessions. I've talked to people about it and stuff. But I'm wondering, is the only reason I is the reason I want to get an MBA because I feel like I have to, or is it because I'm secretly craving that academic validation again? I don't know. Like, okay, cool. I'm 23. I'm working at a Fortune 500 company. I'm working in marketing. Woohoo, yay. Okay, cool. But what's next? And I'm not gonna, at least I hope I'm not gonna stay in the same place in life forever. And one thing that is giving me a little bit of one thing that's giving me a little bit of identity is the fact that I am in a rotational program. So I do have a 2-year plan set in stone for me. Like I have some control over it, but there are some parts that are kind of out of my hand. But then after leaving the program, like, what the heck am I going to do with my life? Like, oh, shoot, I have officially lost all outside control or all like designated timelines for my life. It's like officially, like, my life is officially in my hands completely. Like, next year at this time, I hope my identity crisis is over because I really don't know. I don't know what my life is going to look like. I don't know, really who I am. And speaking of careers, I know there are some people that use their career actually as their identity. So they go from having their identity wrapped up, as being a student to being wrapped up in their career. So they go from, oh, hey, my name is Ariane. I'm a senior at Oakwood University, double majoring in marketing and broadcast journalism. They'll go from that to, hi, my name is Ariane McCullough. I'm a financial analyst at Goldman Sachs, where I handle the biggest portfolio of XYZ. Right. And that's cool if that's what you want to do. But I just feel like there's so much more to me than the place that I work. Oh, and by the way, I don't work at Goldman Sachs. I just literally made that up. But I don't want people to only think of me because of my career. And I'm just entry level, so I really don't there's not really much for me to say, but eventually I won't be entry level in like 2 years. I'll be considered non-entry level, I think. But I don't know. Who, who am I? You guys are going to keep hearing me say that cuz I mean, I'm really asking myself. outside of where I went to school, what I'm doing right now, who is Ariana McCullough? Why would someone want to be friends with Ariana? Why would someone want to hire Ariana? And I have some ideas, but you know, like how sometimes you hype yourself up and you're not sure. You know what I mean? Anyway. But yeah, don't get me wrong. I think your career is obviously important, especially when you're passionate about what you do. But I just don't want to be like wrapped up in my career because I think like what happens, like, what if I were to lose my job? There goes part of my identity. And then we're back at square one, like how we are, post grad. So I don't know. I want people to know unique things about me, like what I like doing on the weekends, my favorite show, what are my quirks? Because if you know me, you know I have a lot of them. I feel like that's a little bit more important when it comes to me than where I work or where I'm from or what jobs my parents have. I don't feel like that matters. And I feel like a lot of people tie their identity to that. And again, if that's what you want to do, that's cool. But for me personally, I don't know. I want more. I want a lot more. I just don't know what it is. And going back to talking about next steps, I think it's kind of funny and crazy because the older you get, the bigger of the impact your decisions have. And I hate it when people ask me about my 5-year plan, even though I do ask people that question all the time. But I hate that question because I have no idea. I don't know if I want to be an MBA graduate working at a big company, or if I want to be a talent agent for an upcoming influencer in LA, or I want to pursue social media management, or if I want to like try and take this podcasting thing a little bit more seriously and see if this can become my full-time job. I have no idea. I don't want to answer the question. When I give people an answer, it's literally like 1 out of 7 answers that have run through my head. And I don't know. Like, what am I supposed to do next? And it's hard because it seems like a lot of people do know what they want to do next. They do know like who they are and things like that. And it's funny on TikTok, I actually see a lot of young people, specifically other young Black women on social media, and it seems like they have their life figured out and they know exactly what they represent and what they want out of life. And I love seeing their videos, but I just don't know, why can't I why can't I do the same thing? Like, for example, I follow some people that are like Black girls who love luxury, or Black girls who love to travel, or Black girls working for this big makeup brand, or a Black girl in tech who's passionate about coding in underserved communities. Like, I feel like that is a part of their identity and they embrace it, they showcase it, and people love it. And I absolutely love their content. Like, that's obviously how I know about them, but it makes me start to compare myself, and not only compare myself, but compare my content. And like, for example, I'm not really into luxury items. Like, yes, there's a Gucci purse that I want really bad, but I don't think I'm at this point in life where I really want to go and buy one. But I'm not gonna lie, it crosses my mind. Well, what if this type of content resonates more with my audience? Should I like maybe show the more luxurious side of life, even though I'm not into luxury items like that? Or dang, maybe if I worked at Facebook, that could be a part of my identity and help my content grow when Facebook isn't even on my radar, like things of that nature. And it's like, oh, why do you guys have your lives figured out and know who they are post grad, but I don't? Like, who is Ariane? What is she about, both on social media and then off of social media, face to face? And I think honestly, I go through waves because I do understand that people, they probably are experiencing the same things, but it just seems like they have a little bit more worked out than me, and I need them to teach me what exactly it is that they do. But I also wanted to touch on like how I miss the success and the milestones that come along with being a student. And I would consider myself a good student. I had a 3.89 GPA, double major. I was a responsive student in class. always on the dean's list. I won awards in my department, got into like the academic organizations and stuff like that. And of course, like having family and friends and teachers say, "Congratulations," or "I'm so proud, look at you." It felt good. Like nobody is going to say it doesn't feel good. But it's like funny, like post grad, unless you get like a big bonus at work or an award at work or you knock a presentation out of the park, I don't know how likely it is that you receive those words of affirmation that you might have craved in undergrad. And it's funny because I would never consider myself a words of affirmation girl, but I kind of think I am. I think words of affirmation are important to me, you know? And I think I'm really thankful to my manager that I'm transitioning off of. I'm really thankful because I think he is definitely a words of affirmation type of person. I think that he gives credit where credit is due and it makes you feel good, even if it's a small thing. I just really appreciate when he acknowledges that. And I think that helps me in the workplace. So I think my new manager may be like that. I just got on the team like 4 days ago, but we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I kind of miss the words of affirmation from being a student and having your successes displayed and things like that. And in all honesty, I just want to let you guys know I don't have many tips in all honesty for this episode because I'm still working on this. I just thought this would be a pretty cool thing to just talk about and see if anyone else is feeling the same way. And I know I can't be the only person who's struggling with figuring out who they are, what they want, and what the next steps for them will be. And I feel like I always heard in college you're gonna find yourself. And I think I found like part of myself, like a fourth of myself, but there's three-fourths of me that I still have to figure out. And you guys know when you do an interview and they say, "Oh, can you tell me about yourself?" If I were to truthfully answer that question, it would probably be like, "Hi, my name is Ariane McCullough. I'm a 20 something who is confused and slightly anxious in most aspects of my life. I love all things marketing, entertainment, and social media. And I struggle with making decisions on a daily basis. And honestly, sometimes I wish I could just sit in my room in the dark for 4 days with the lights off just to relax and not think about anything." What else would I add? I have experience in different industries, but I'm unsure of which one I want to pursue long term. And when it comes to my strengths, I don't even know if this is really a strength or if I'm just overhyping myself and just being too confident. That I feel like that would be my true answer if somebody said, "Oh, tell me about yourself." Even if it wasn't in a interview setting, but just talking with someone. That's how I feel right now about life. It may change next week. It may not, but I don't know. If you're also struggling with this, just know that we got this. Eventually, we'll figure this out, and I don't know when that will be. Hopefully, it's in our 20s. I would assume it's going to be in our 20s. But if not, we still have time. But if I had to give a suggestion, I guess, on figuring out your identity post grad, I would suggest like we should probably try new things and figure out what it is that we love, what is it that we hate. We should all go on new experiences and just try to do whatever we can to figure out who we are as 20 somethings and what our platform will be, whether you're a content creator, whether you're just a regular old Instagram user. Everybody has their own values and beliefs. And I think that is what your platform is based on. Again, you don't have to be huge to have a platform. You can have 5 followers and still have a platform because that's what you represent. So I'm going to eventually go on this journey of figuring out who I am and what it is I want to get out of life. And I actually do want to create some type of loose 5 year plan because I really enjoyed like my vision board, like planning and execution for this year. It's I'm a planner, so I like knowing what's next. And maybe this 5 year plan will help me since I kind of feel like I don't really know what next steps to take in my life to advance it. But yeah, and I also think like that this is part of the reason why I think I'm like excited to move because I think I'm gonna naturally go on this self identity journey and see like who is Ariane when she's all alone, uninfluenced by others, and in her own space. So I'm going to go on this journey, and I hope you guys go on this journey as well. That's all I really wanted to share for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and supporting season 2. There are a lot more of you listening, so thank you. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, I would appreciate if you could leave a review or a rating, or a review and a rating. If you don't already follow Graduated and Grown on Instagram, just type in at Graduated and Grown on Instagram for more content, and you can go to YouTube to see the video versions of all the guest episodes. But stay tuned for season 3. I'm really excited. If you want to be a guest, or you know someone else who would be great to chat with about anything in the adulting, career, relationship space, send me a DM on my personal account or on the podcast account. It may take me a minute to get to it because DMs are very overwhelming, but I will get to it. But again, thank you guys so much for listening. I love you all, whoever you are. Thank you so much for listening. And I will chat with you all in a month or 2, or maybe even 3. Season 3 will come faster than you think. And if you haven't listened to the old episodes, again, this is a perfect time too. But all right, this is your girl, Ariana McCullough, the host of Graduated and Grown, the podcast that's all about adulting. And I am signing off for season 2. Bye.